All right, good morning. Welcome to our day on growth and decay. Please make sure you have your packet out, that you have a notebook out to take notes. And again, you will need a graphing calculator for this lesson, so go ahead and grab one from the front. If we run out, please share with your neighbor. So today we are on growth and decay. You'll have a worksheet at the end of the hour, so please make sure you use your time to complete that. Again, you will not be given any additional time, so please make sure you take notes during the video, keep your phone away, and then you can work on the worksheet and you should be able to finish it all in class. So you got our warm up, which was just me describing what we're doing. Lesson should take about 20 to 25 minutes. Please pause the video as needed to take notes, and then you have an assignment. So as I said, we're doing growth and decay today. So your goal today is you can write recursive formulas to real world situations like loans and investments, as well as find the growth and decay factor for each formula. So the first thing we're going to note is that growth and decay. For growth, it's a common ratio that's greater than 1. And for decay, it's a common ratio that's less than 1, but has to be bigger than 0. Okay? So if I had a factor of 1.25, that would be growth. If I had just the 0.25, that would be decay. All right, so now these are a bunch of ratios, so we're going to have to decide which ones are growth and decay, and then actually state what percentage they grew by. So I'm going to go through and label all of these. Go ahead and write them in your notebook. This is growth, this is growth, this is nothing, no change. This is decay, this is decay. So this is the only one, excuse my D, that is nothing. So this is a 0% change because it's 1. For growth, we look at the extra. So the extra on this is 0.05, which is really 5% because you move the decimal over 2 times to get it back to a percentage. This is decay. So I'm going to skip it and go on to our next growth one. Remember, for growth, we look at the extra, so it's 0.35, which means that it grew by 35%. The reason this is the 1 tells us we keep everything we have. The 0.05 and the 0.35 tells us that's how much extra we're adding. So we just want to know the extra. So for decay now, this 0.84 is how much we kept. So from 100, we have to figure out how much we lost. So 100 minus 84 leaves me with 16%. So if I kept 93%, that means I lost 7%. So you just have to do 100 minus 93, or you can think about it in your head. All right, so for these, I'm going to show you 2 examples, and then you're going to try 2 on your own. So 1 plus 1.025 is 1.25. So our ratio is growth, and our ratio is 1.25. And then for the percent change, we have to look at the extra because it's growth. This one grew by 25%. 1 minus 0.3 is 0.70 because this is 0.30. So our ratio is 0.70. This is decay then because our ratio is less than 1. Our percent change is if we kept 70%, we lost 30%. All right, so pause the video, go ahead and write these 2 down on your own. All right, so this one is growth because it's 1.54 and it grew by 54%. This one is decay because it's less than 1. Our ratio is 0.43 and the percent change is if I kept 43%, I lost 67%. That's a lie. I lost 57%. My bad. 57%. Right? All right, so now we're going to move on to sequences and do the same exact thing. So if you remember from yesterday, we take the second term divided by the first term to find our ratio. So we're going to do 23.52 divided by 14. So I'm going to go to my calculator here, 23.52 divided by 14 gives me 1.68. And just to check, I'm going to do 39.5136 divided by 23.52 just to make sure it's the same ratio, and I get 0.68. So my common ratio is 1.68. So this is growth because it's bigger than 1. The extra on growth is what we look for, so it grew by 68%. So now we need to remember our recursive formulas. They always start with U0 or U1. When it's a list, we use U1. And then they always do UN equals UN minus 1. So U1 is 14. UN equals UN minus 1 times 1.68 is our formula. You could also write 1.68 times UN minus 1. But I always just write the UN minus 1 first because it's easier for me to remember. So now we're going to use our calculator to find this. We're going to do it the easy way the first time, and then I'm going to show you the calculator way the second time. So if I want to find U20, the easy way is just type your starting term, which is 14, hit enter, times 1.68, and then just keep hitting enter until you get to the 20. So it's a second. All right, I finally made it to 20, and my 20th term is 267303. Point something. Okay. All right, so pause the video, try this one on your own. All right, remember we do second term divide first, and then we want to check to do that, divide that. So we got 27 point. And we can easily see, guys, that this one is decreasing. Always check that because sometimes you do your ratios wrong and then it doesn't, then you're like, why is it not giving me the right terms? Because you did your ratio backwards. Always make sure that if it's going down, that your ratio is less than 1. I typed that in wrong. All right, so I get 0.47 for my ratio, which means it's decay, which I can tell just by looking it's going down. So if I kept 47%, then I lost, don't mind that point, I lost 53%. All right, so recursive formula again is U1 equals UN minus 1. And in this case, our ratio is 0.47. Our U1 is our first term, which is 59. All right, now this part I'm going to show you what we did yesterday with our calculators. So if you go to mode, you want to scroll down to function and over to SEQ or sequence and hit enter so it's dark on sequence right here. So now when you go to y equals, so everyone click y equals now, you see our 3 things we need. So we need our UN or our n min, which is either 0 or 1. That goes by what you did here. So since we have 1 here, our first one here is going to be 1. So change the first one to 1. I'm going to clear that out so you remember how to type it in. So second 7 is the U, parenthesis n minus 1, because the calculator doesn't do subscripts, so we have to put it in parentheses to show that it's a little n minus 1. All right, and then we're going to type times 0.47 for our ratio. So again, second 7, the U is next to alpha, n minus 1, times our ratio, 0.47. And the last one is our starting term. You don't need to use those funny brackets. They will put it in for you. So just type 59 and enter because that is our first term. After you get that set up, hit second mode, which gets you back to this screen. And the nice thing is you can go second 7 on your home screen here and get a U, parenthesis. We want to find the 20th term here. Okay, so I'm going to type 20. And this is a lot faster than hitting enter. So 3.47 e to the negative 5 just means it's a really small number. It just means you have to move it over. So there's going to be 4 zeros in front. So 0.0003. Okay, you have to move the decimal place over 5 times. All right, so now we're going to move on to where I've given you the recursive routine. You need to do the same exact thing. This is going to be more focused on practicing with your calculator. So if I want to find the first 4 terms, that's when I use the enter method. So 6,000, enter, and then times 0.0 or times 0.3, enter. So my first term is 6,000. My second term is 1,800. Third term is 540, and last term is 162. And I'm just going to drag that in here so you can see those are my next 4 terms. Okay. Now I need to do the second term divided by the first. Oh, I lied. I already know my ratio. It's what I'm multiplying by. So my ratio is this number right here. It's what I'm multiplying by here. Okay. So I'm multiplying by 0.3, so my ratio is 0.3. If it doesn't have 2, write a 0, so you remember it's 30, not 3%. So if I kept 30%, that means I lost 70%. And then we're going to practice one more time on our calculator, and then you're going to try the next one. So again, go to y equals. We want to keep this first one at 1 because ours is at u1. Go down to the second and just practice clearing it. Once you have that set up, you can leave it in, but practice second 7, parenthesis. Next to alpha is the n button, minus 1, and then times our ratio of 0.3. Don't forget to change your n min, which is your starting value. In this case, ours is 6,000. And then you can hit second mode to get back to your home screen. Second 7 again gives you the U, and we want to find the 24th. So we're going to find U24, and I get again 5.6 e to the negative 9. That just means there's going to be 8 zeros. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8.5. So it's just a really small number again. All right, pause the video and try doing this one on your calculator on your own. All right, so the first 4 terms we're going to use enter, enter. So 12, enter, times 1.25, enter. All right, and then we can keep it enter to get our first 4. There's our first 4. The common ratio is 1.25. It's what we're multiplying by. If it's growth, then we just look at the extra, so it grew by 25%. And then let's practice typing this on our calculator one last time. So y equals, first number is 1 because we start at u1. Okay, second, we're going to clear it just to practice. Once you have it in, you can do it. So second 7 gives us the u, parenthesis next to alpha is the n, minus 1, and then times our ratio of 1.25. And don't forget to change your starting term, which in this case is 12. So again, second mode gets us back to the screen. Second 7 gets us our u, and in this case, we want to find u10. So I get 89.4. Oh, finally a number that's normal. Okay. All right, I got one more problem here. It's a word problem. So we have to talk a little bit about how we're going to get the ratio on these problems, okay? So suppose Mr. Critically buys a GMC Terrain and it costs 28,000, 4,055. It loses 1/5 of its value. 1/5, if it's easier, is 20% or 0.2, okay? So we're going to have to write a recursive formula. This is the only time, not the only, but when we have a word problem, it says he started with this, no time has passed. That's when we're going to start with U0. So we're going to say U0 equals 28,455. And for most word problems, you're going to start with U0. Then we're going to write UN equals UN minus 1. Now here's where we have to be tricky. If he's losing 20%, he is keeping 80% of his value. So his common ratio is actually going to be 0.80. Okay? Because again, if he's losing 20, he's keeping 80. This is what he's keeping. That's what we want to multiply by because we want to know what the value is. We don't want to know how much it lost. So we're going to practice typing this in our calculator. Go to y equals. We have to change this first one to a 0 now because we're starting with u0. And then practice one more time. Second 7, parenthesis next to alpha is the n. And we are multiplying by 0.80. And then our starting value is 28,455. And we want to find the value after 6 years. So second 7, U6. So it's $7,459 and some cents. How many cents? 31. All right, and then we need to find when it falls less than 2,000. You could do enter, enter until it gets there, or a better way, I'm going to hit second graph. It's going to give me a table here, and I can scroll to this UN side and just find when it's less than 2,000. So I'm just going to scroll down, and I can see right there it is less than 2,000, so it's after 12 years. All right. All right, your homework tonight then is the growth and decay worksheet. It's worksheet 2 in your packet. Please make sure you use your work time to do this. If you have any questions, I posted the video on Google Classroom. You could rewatch parts of it if needed. All right, thank you.